Hello everyone, continuing the series of solving previous question papers. Coming to question number 4 of paper 1 in Jan 2025. It was asked about inheritance pattern. Inheritance pattern of diseases. So this was the question. To deal this question, we will divide it into, as you all know, mainly autosomal dominant, autosomal recessive, X-linked disorders, and even mitochondrial inheritance. So in this section, we can deal the question. First, we will discuss the important one, that is autosomal dominant and recessive. Comparing both, we will see the differences. So here, autosomal dominant, autosomal recessive. See here, in autosomal dominant diseases, mainly the disease will manifest when even one allele is mutated. So this is the first point to understand. Disease manifests when even one allele is mutated. So we know that there will be two alleles. So among those, even if one is mutated, disease will get manifested. That's why it is named dominant. It will not be the same in recessive. So here, as you can expect now, both alleles should be mutated. Both alleles should be mutated. And from this, we can manifest the next difference. That is, when one allele is mutated, the other will be functional. So the other functional allele will do its activity. So the disease severity will be lesser and it will manifest late. So as other allele is functional, disease will be less severe and usually manifests late. Here, both the alleles are mutated. That's why there will not be any functional allele. So the disease severity will be too much and it will manifest in the early age. So exactly opposite here. Severe disease with early onset. So this is the second one. And one important thing is, most of the autosomal dominant disorders are related with structural genes. So here mainly structural genes related disorders are seen in dominant, whereas in recessive it will be functional genes. For example, some enzymes. So from this we can infer that structural genes, if they are affected, disease will not be that severe, whereas if the function itself is lost, then survival will be difficult. That's why autosomal recessive disorders will be more severe to see. You can just consider an example of Marfan's disease here. Marfan's disease. And for functional gene mutation, we can consider Wilson's, even hemochromatosis. So you can just compare and see the severity of the disease in the given examples. Then, coming to the next difference, whenever we are comparing autosomal dominant and recessive disorders, we have to keep it in mind about two things. One is, how will be the penetrance of disease in the upcoming generation? Then, what will be the pleiotropism? So to understand these two terms, see, penetrance in the sense, when the genotype is affected, what will be the phenotype? Even if the genotype is abnormal, phenotype might be completely normal in case of autosomal dominant. So we can consider penetrance will be lesser. Whereas here in recessive group, we can see more penetrance, because if the genotype is abnormal, definitely phenotype will be abnormal only in recessive group. That is about penetrance. Coming to pleiotropism. Pleiotropism in the sense, if one gene is affected, it can manifest to involve various systems in the body. For example, just now we told that Marfan's. So here, fibrillin related gene will be affected. So this will be the single gene, but it will manifest to involve various systems. For example, cardiovascular system, even ocular manifestations, and musculoskeletal deformities can be seen. So this is called as pleiotropism, whereas this pleiotropism will be not seen in case of autosomal recessive disorders. So these are the major differences, and we have listed some examples also. Now, to draw the pedigree chart of these two, see here, the thing is, when we are drawing pedigree chart, so we will consider, suppose among parents, father is not affected, whereas mother is affected. Mother is affected. So we are considering affected allele in this pink color and the normal alleles in the green color. So here, how will be the pedigree? The upcoming generation, we will draw the pedigree now. Here, the child will be unaffected because both are normal alleles. Then, here, the child will get one mutated allele. That's why it will be affected. And similarly, here it will be normal. Again, one mutated allele. So we can see this child is unaffected. This is affected. So this will manifest the disease. Similarly, here unaffected, and this will be getting affected. So we can see almost 50% incidence of the disease in the next generation. And here one more important thing is the penetrance will be, and the pedigree will be vertical, we will consider. That is, almost every generation will be affected. Every generation will be affected, but the ratio might differ. Usually it will be about 50%. If we draw 3-generation pedigree, every generation we can see affected individuals. That is the typical feature of autosomal dominant. Coming to autosomal recessive, here we can consider, suppose both parents are carriers. Only one mutated allele is there. Then what will be the penetrance? So we will see now. So here, this will be unaffected child, and this will be getting one mutated allele, again leading to a carrier state. Similarly here, one mutated allele leading to carrier state, and here both are mutated. So definitely the disease will manifest. So this will be the affected child, and this first one remains unaffected. So here, if we consider the next generation, suppose considering this child, there might be chances that there will not be any disease in the upcoming generation. So here we can consider that this will be a horizontal pedigree in case of recessive disorders, in the sense this might skip the generations. Some generations might not be affected at all, but if one particular generation is involved, then many of the children will get affected. So that is the typical feature of recessive disorders. So this will be a horizontal pedigree, and we can see skipping of generations here. This is the major difference in pedigree of both autosomal dominant and recessive disorders. So hope you got the difference and how to draw pedigree. Coming to X-linked disorders, here you know that in X-linked disorders, this will be male dominant mainly. Mainly we will discuss X-linked recessive disorders, because X-linked dominant are very less common to see. So here we can see that, suppose in males, so if the disorder is running in the family, always males will be definitely manifesting the disease, whereas females, suppose only one X chromosome is affected and the other one is fine, then the female will be a carrier. So disease will not be manifested here. But in males, only one is required to get the disease to be manifested. So here it will be affected. And we know that males will pass Y chromosome to the son. So if the father is affected, he will not transfer disease to sons. Whereas for daughter, X chromosome will be transferred. That's why this X is affected here. That's why daughters will definitely get affected. Daughter is receiving mutated X. That's why she can be a carrier or an individual with disease being affected. It depends on the X chromosome passed by the mother. So this is the transmission pattern. To summarize, fathers will transmit the disease to only daughters, never to the sons here. Coming to the maternal transmission to the next generation, we know that mother will transfer X chromosome to both sons as well as daughters. So if we see the penetrance, suppose she is transferring the affected X to son, son will definitely be affected. If mother is transmitting the mutated X to daughter, and if she is getting a normal X from father, she will remain a carrier. And if she is getting mutated X from father also, then she will be manifesting the disease. So this will be the pattern. So here we can observe that mothers can transfer disease to both males as well as females. So here both the gender might get affected because of the carrier or affected mother. Whereas we saw that fathers will transmit this disease only to the female child. So this is about X-linked recessive disorders, pedigree. And if we want to see the examples, here mainly we can remember it with a short simple story. We just imagine a male hunter went for hunting. So male hunter. Why we are mentioning male? Because males are more affected in X-linked disorders. So male hunter. So with this we can draw hunter's disease. Went for hunting, but he had some problem in the eyes. So he had ocular albinism. So instead of targeting animal's muzzle, he directly hit over the heart of the animal. So target was muzzle. So from this muscle, we can draw Duchenne's muscular dystrophy as an example. So he directly hit heart, leading to excessive bleeding. So we can draw hemophilia as an example. Here you can even consider color blindness. And one more example to add on is G6PD deficiency. So these are some examples for X-linked recessive disorders. Coming to the last one, that is mitochondrial inheritance. So you all know that mitochondrial inheritance, the main transmitter of the disease is mother. Mitochondrial inheritance. It will be only maternal transmission. So father will not transmit the disease to next generation. This is one very important point. And second one is examples. You can consider MELAS, MRF, even PEO, that is progressive external ophthalmoplegia. And you have to know the full form of these disorders also. Here, mitochondrial myopathy. E stands for encephalopathy. This LA is lactic acidosis. And S for stroke. So these manifestations will be seen together in an individual. We can consider it as MELAS. Coming to MRF full form. ME is myoclonic epilepsy. And this RRF in the sense ragged red fibers. So mainly related with muscle weakness. These are some examples of mitochondrial inheritance. So to summarize, we discussed that inheritance pattern in mainly 4 sections. One is autosomal dominant, autosomal recessive, X-linked, and mitochondrial. Dominant and recessive differences we noted. So only one allele led to mainly structural genes are affected in autosomal dominant, whereas functional genes are affected in recessive. That's why it will be more severe to manifest. That's why it will manifest earlier, and the severity will be more. And we saw the pedigree, how the penetrance will be. Then we discussed some X-linked disorders with a short story of Hunter. Then finally we discussed mitochondrial inheritance pattern, mainly because of maternal transmission. So this was the discussion about inheritance pattern seen. Hope you got the point, and with this short note, you can elaborate this answer to 10 marks and do share it with your friends. Please subscribe to our channel. See you in next video. Thank you so much.